You got spare game codes or any digital goods? There is a place you can sell them in less than 1 minute. Watch. Go to g2a.com. Click Start Selling. Fast login. Go to My Account and click on Selling tab. Sell new item. Enter name, code, set a price. And done. G2A.com Digital Marketplace. Global selling simplified.
All right, guys, welcome back to the StarLadder Hearthstone season kickoff playoffs. We're about to cast probably what is going to be one of the biggest matches in the league between Kolento and Lifecoach. So that's going to be a really good match, at least I'm hoping so, with players who really do take their time to make the optimal plays.
Yeah, and they do both play warrior. So this is another interesting thing, and the classes are like that. Lifecoach has Druid, Warlock, Warrior, so nothing I wouldn't expect from Lifecoach. Like, this is the usual best classes that he uses right now. And Kolento picked Hunter, Rogue, and Warrior. It's an interesting pick with the Rogue. He's anticipating the Warrior from Lifecoach, I would say. And some might argue that the Rogue pick might also be a good counter pick against the Warlock in general. Not only Zoo, but also the Handlock.
Right, I think you're right. I think Kolento, number one, Kolento plays Rogue very well, and it's usually at the moment considered favored against many of the decks in the metagame, including mid-range Hunters. So it's one of those decks that is really popular, and when you're playing against Lifecoach, which you fully know what to expect, or at least to a large degree, I think Rogue is a very nice pick because most of the decks that Lifecoach plays, all Rogue can beat by playing a usually somewhat slow game. They don't even have to rush into the game like they would have against Zoo. You're actually allowed to get your combo pieces, set up the best Blade Flurries, and, you know, take your sweet time, get that sprint. So Kolento picking Rogue here is no surprise to me.
Yeah, and also Hunter. Now it depends what kind of hunter it is. As always, as we are talking about hunters, the difference between the decks can be huge, and sometimes a single charge minion can make a whole lot of difference when it comes to matchups. Not only mirror matches, but in general. Yeah. And even the mid-range one can still crush a handlock because it's not about the savannas. It's just about the early game minions and kill commands. And that's what you need to be the handlock in this current metagame. I
think the mid-range hunter is actually probably one of the stronger ones against handlock. Unless, like, from all the hunter decks that exist, I think it's the best one against handlock that they've got. Maybe hybrid is slightly better, but overall hunter will be good against it. And since we noticed that Lifecoach really likes that the playstyle, we have to assume. Oh, okay. So the players are switched around here. Lifecoach is actually the one playing the classes on the left.
Yeah.
Well, Warlock, Warrior. All right, so they're just changing around. So Druid, Warlock, Warrior for Lifecoach. We have to assume both are playing Patron, right?
Yes, that would be my guess. And Lifecoach probably plays Handlock and a mid-range Druid because there's no other archetype for Druid at the moment that is playable.
Oh, come on, that's man. Also Mech Druid. You don't know Mech Druid? It's like the best deck ever, man.
Yeah, like all the mechs that have 2 mech warpers in the hand, you know?
Yeah.
That's one of my concerns when it comes to game design. Druid seems to be stuck in one place. What do you think about that? Like,
I'll tell you one thing that I've come to realize. Like, even if you did, like, let's assume for a second that Innervate is fine, and you know, now the Druid has kind of fallen down out of favor. I get a feeling Savage Roar is the biggest offender. And what Druid really needs is its own line of minions that act as good 2-drops and 1-drops, like other classes sometimes have access to. Like, sure, Hunted Creeper is nice for a hunter, right? But it's not nearly as nice for a Druid.
Well, so Druid, that was a Druid of the beast.
Druid, whatever it's called, the Fang, the guy with like a 7/7 snake.
Yeah,
it's so bad, but it's like, they need to push, and the last episode we made of Mechatorp's Workshop with a friend where exactly that, they need to push the Treants into the Druids, I think. Give them the 2-drop Treant, a 1-drop Treant, a 3-drop Treant, like just a huge Treant, a Zoo deck for Druids. But then you cut Savage Roar, because otherwise they pull off wins where they otherwise should not. But I don't know what it is about Druids. They really feel like they're cornered design-wise because of Savage Roar and Innervate.
And Wild Growth, I would say.
Yeah, it's just that they're in a weird spot because if you give them a really good card again, you're just gonna push them. Like if you notice, BRM didn't change anything for druids at all. Like I guess Emperor Thorson came in and helped, and GVG. Like what from GVG do you see in druid?
Pile to Shredders, and that's it.
Yeah.
And Dr. Boom, of course.
Dr. Boom, yeah, of course, there's a 7 drop. So like very little has changed. New archetypes really came up for a while. Dog, I know, and a few other players were playing like mech druid with mech warpers and shredders and like spider tanks, and maybe like one tinker town, but it wasn't that popular for a long time, and it kind of fell out of favor as soon as people reverted to their usual lineups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's actually a very good point. This is the same discussion with Bane of Doom and Innervate. They share the same weakness when it comes to game design. They are both being buffed by making better cards.
Yeah, like they're down the line, they get better as new cards come out, which is something that's kind of unheard of when it comes to.
It was the same with Magic the Gathering. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Dark Patrol, go.
Yeah, like Black Lotus, like the Moxes, right? All those cards were overpowered not because of their mechanics itself, but because of the fact that they just gained value and crushed the whole idea of the mana system, mana utilization of the game. And they gained the value because of the most, the better cards were printed in the next expansions, so they're allowed to get better minions on, earlier on. So that was the issue.
Yeah, and I think like Undertaker is a good example of a card that, like, let's assume Undertaker is there on release. It might not be that good because there is no Haunted Creeper, there is no Web Spinner, there is no Mad Scientist, but then new cards with Death Rattle would have come out, and then that card becomes broken. And I think the Undertaker was a great example of a card that had potential to really limit design space in the future. Obviously, we all saw it immediately because it came alongside the cards that made it better, but it was kind of interesting to look at. Like, they nerfed it, but they didn't touch other cards that seemed to suffer from a similar thing. So, anyway, back to the lineups. Kolento playing Hunter, Rogue, and Warrior versus Lifecoach's Druid, Warrior, Warlock. I'm happy that Lifecoach plays Patron. Like, I know initially he was... he forced himself to play it.
Yeah, he was forcing himself into playing that because he thought that, first of all, he doesn't really like that that Warrior archetype in general, But it just turned out to be one of the most powerful decks in the metagame. And that's what Lifecoach wants to play, the best decks, right? So if he thinks that there's a deck that is the best, he will play it. If there's a Paladin, if there's a Mage, if that's a Hunter, if that's... Well, we'll see how he will think about the Rogue, if there will be a best deck in the metagame with Rogue, because he wasn't really playing Miracle Rogue back in the day.
Yeah, he wasn't playing it, and as you said, like recently, the people who play Miracle Rogue the most are like who played Oil Rogue are the players who played Miracle Rogue back in the days. Like all the same players that used to play it a lot transitioned and are now playing Rogue very frequently. Lifecoach not being among them, maybe he'll eventually pick up Oil Rogue. It's one of those decks that I don't think I've seen him play much, if at all.
Yeah, I think I didn't see him even once playing a Rogue after even Miracles.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Lifecoach just doesn't seem to have investigated the Rogue class too much. Maybe one day he will. All I know is he's great at teching against them. He always plays Harrison Jones, and when he expects classes with that play secrets, he will play Kazan Mystic fairly frequently. Kolento, I mean, he's been playing it. He's played a bit of Face Hunter of recent memory. So against Lifecoach, do you think that's a deck that Kolento will consider, like hybrid to face?
That would be like a really mature decision when it comes to playing against a certain opponent. But we actually saw the decks, right? Last week.
Yeah.
So, and if I recall correctly, that was the mid-range Hunter because, as you said, it's the most stable and powerful Hunter archetype currently, of course, in the metagame. So I would see Kolento also picking the best deck and not the weakest one that might be better against a specific opponent.
Right. So we'll see if Lifecoach can actually pull it off. Again, I like Harrison Jones is good against the 3 classes that Kolento brought. So if Lifecoach has it stacked in his deck, then that's going to be a a pretty good card to have.
Let's assume he has a Harrison Jones, but I would say Harrison Jones will be only playable in Druid here and maybe Warrior if you anticipate a Mirror Match. But then in Handlock, you have to play Ooze because Harrison will just
Well, I mean,
burn
it's
your
not.
cards.
I was gonna say it's going to overdraw you very often, so I don't see why you'd play that. Ooze. I remember somebody playing recently a list with like 2 oozes in it, like in the
Well, I was
hand
playing
block
one
list.
ooze instead of a zombie chow because I was thinking that's the correct decision in current metagame because of all the warriors, hunters, and rogues.
Yeah. You mean you don't see any shamans with Doomhammer? No shamans.
Well,
You don't have to answer that. I know there's none. They don't exist, man. They're a myth. Shamans don't exist in the metagame. It's an unfortunate truth. And the thing is, when they do come back, it seems like they come back in droves and massive waves of people. Like you have a lot of people playing shaman at the same time, and then people are like, "Hey, shaman's not as bad now." Well, of course, because it's a deck that can either it's very slow. It never gets that unfair edge that other classes have. Like you never have that one turn where you're like, "Oh, I've already won." No, it's like it's a struggle turn after turn to get
Ancestral Spirit, man.
Dude, Ancestral Spirit Reincarnate Shaman coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, another one of those decks that could be better as new cards come out.
That's true, but the potential is not as big as I would say with Bane of Doom and Innervates,
I agree with you.
It's much harder to set up. So
I agree.
Lifecoach has a decent hand with Wild Growth and Palette Shredder, which is decent against hunters that are mid-range, not against face hunters. But you will have to keep the Wild Growth anyway, because it's, otherwise there's no fish for the Innervates.
Yeah, and it's just going to get worse, basically, if you don't keep it. Very often, you're looking for one or the other. If you get one, you take it. If you get the other one after mulliganing, then all the better, but you can't just throw away Wild Growth in the hopes of picking up the Innervate.
Exactly. And then he will keep only the Wrath and Palette Shredder, I would say. So mulligan away the Savage Roar.
What a crazy decision it would be for him to keep Savage Roar.
No way he will do that. There's no way unless he's lagging out.
Yeah, there's a possibility that something happened here. Oh, no, he did mulligan it. Okay.
So Wild Growth and... Oh, Azure. Well, that's a good curve about after the Palette Shredder. But
Kolento's playing hybrid or face, man. Like, there's no way this is not that. Like, this.
Yeah. Well, Wild Growth this turn to Wrath on turn 3. I mean, on turn 2,
turn 2 with 3 mana, yeah. And then turn 4. I mean, actually, yeah.
What about just killing it?
What about killing it? And then you play Wild Growth turn 2, and then you get a Powdered Shredder afterwards.
Yeah, that's also okay. And you can probably keep. You most likely want to keep the Wrath for a Huffer
or Misha, yeah, one or the other.
So I would say Hero Powering might be better here.
Oh man, Coin Hero Power, another crazy opener.
Half free opener. Otherwise, you're kind of if you use Wild Growth this turn, you can actually use it next turn too. There's no difference if you play it on turn 1 or turn 2, because of the Palette Shredders. I was just saying that there's no difference if you play Wild Growth on turn 2 or turn 3 because you always have
the extra mana. It's just that you're going to take a bit less damage.
On turn 1 or turn 2 because the Palette Shredder will always be in the same turn.
Yeah, Kolento not picking up any tempo plays, and that Harrison Jones right here for Lifecoach will pay off eventually.
Well, he's happy that there was no creature in turn 2, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, Kolento picks up a nice Animal Companion though, so... Is it Huffer? No, it's Misha. All right,
Misha is not that bad for Lifecoach.
Well, the question I've got for you is: do you play the Shredder to? All right, never mind. I was gonna say to contest it right away.
Nah, I don't think so. You need that drop from the Palette Shredder as soon as possible.
I don't think it'll happen though, and with a quick shot, it's even worse. Unless he opts not to do that and let it trade into the Misha. But why would you do that? The thing is, if you sound sit and then you kill with a quick shot and swipe gets played, what's your following play?
But why would you trade it here? Makes no sense.
I mean, I say with the quick shot.
Oh, okay.
Like, would you ever play the owl? Was my question. Because now you can just play the weapon instead and take care of some of the 2-drops. Wow, okay.
Ooh.
That is not at all what Lifecoach wanted to see, I don't think.
Yeah, I think so too. Kolento just ignored the...
yeah.
What was his name? That Pagel, right? Didn't see him for some time. Big Game Hunter, that's nothing that he wanted to see either, unless he plays Abusive Sergeant.
Harrison Jones could get one card draw, or you could play Druid of the Claw. Again, the problem with that is that if a silence or an attack buff comes in, then you're going to be exactly where you're already at. Kill command plus the weapon hit also kills it, so you're very weak unless you make a charge. And if you use Wrath with your hero power, you're taking 5 to the face. So
Kill command doesn't kill it with... Oh, wait, what I'm talking about? Never mind. Yeah, that's a weapon. Well, I think you just have to slam the Harrison Jones. That's the turn.
Yeah, it might seem really weak, but at the same time, I don't see what else is really the option here. I mean, you might also be able to pull off some kind of Azure Drake Wrath for 4 sometime soon.
That's 10-6, you will drop the Druid of the Claw. I don't think there's another option unless you would draw a second... unless you would draw an Innervate. So I'm guessing... this has to be turn for the Hearthstone. I don't think
he doesn't have the choice, really.
Yeah. There's no time to play it after 10-5, I think. Oh, look, it does an Innervate. Okay. So
that's
10-6.
good for him. Azure Drake with the Wrath for 4 damage is going to be really convenient.
This Snake Drop might change the plans, too.
There's no swipe yet for Lifecoach, so when he sees a trap... I mean, the thing is, what do you expect from Kolento at this point? Because his list doesn't run only snake traps.
He probably thinks that this is a explosive trap.
So Kolento here maximizing the damage output, hitting for 7 with that Misha. So right now Lifecoach is under the 10 health mark, which means he's...
And it's 10-5, wow.
Yeah, it's not too good. Keep it the Grove, not a bad draw. But again, it's not solving the problem of having to deal with Snake Trap.
I guess you play Azure Drake, Innervate Wrath for 4. And then probably you have to play like your minion into the 2-1, then you spawn snakes because you actually anticipated explosive trap.
Yeah, and it really depends on what Lifecoach thinks the trap is. That's going to be the determining factor. I mean, is there an argument to just be made to sacrifice Harrison Jones first to see what it is? Whether it's freezing or explosive and snake.
If there's a freezing, then there's the difference. Yeah. You either not attack at all or you just attack now.
Yeah, I think if he's checking for freezing and explosive, he might attack now with Harrison Jones, and then he'll have an idea of whether what it is, because it's either going to be snake. Oh man, snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? And he's going to try to kill that 2-1 with a hero power. Did he get it through?
I think so.
I mean, the trap hasn't triggered. Did he even?
I think he
didn't
attack with the Hearthstone jump because he thought it's
this is such a slow
he thought it's freezing trap, you know?
Yeah. So he's probably just gonna go
attack with the 5. Yeah. He did miss that because he was anticipating a freezing trap.
Yeah, well, he's dead, so good game. Druid falling to the hybrid hunter, or maybe even face at this point. I'm not even sure there's any hybridness into it. Kolento with the top deck.
Well, we saw only the snake trap as a different card from the usual face hunter.
Right.
So, no idea what it's actually this deck is.
Oh man, Kolento with the apologies on the top deck unleash when in fact he could have used Arcane Golem, but now there's a chance that Lifecoach tilts, and also a chance that Lifecoach doesn't figure out there's an Arcane Golem if he forgot about it. Oh,
there's no difference anyway. He will not play against this deck anymore.
Yeah, not revealing any information. He's gonna scout the games later on either way.
Yeah.
All right, so Kolento down to 2 decks with the Rogue and the Warrior left. I like the Rogue here very often. It's so good. The thing is that you also know there's a Harrison Jones and Druid, so would you opt for one or the other with that knowledge?
I know that Lifecoach doesn't he doesn't like those mind games. Okay. He thinks Conquest is about playing one versus one, and it doesn't make any difference because you always have to win with each deck. So he doesn't favor a 3-2 result over a 3-0 if he loses. He wants to get just a win. He doesn't really care about how much is he losing. If it's 0-3 or 2-3, there's no difference.
He has to play the best no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess he will just pick whatever.
Yeah,
He might
I'm
even
just thinking about
randomize it.
Kolento, what he's gonna take, because I know Lifecoach thinks that it's always been the way he looks at it. But I wonder if Kolento's gonna pick up Rogue or Warrior, knowing what Lifecoach has in his lineup. Like, what's more likely to lose, so that your last deck is gonna have to face off against two bad matchups, let's say.
Well, I'm thinking, like, what if he picks? I don't think Kolento will favor any class here. You know, he might just do the same and just pick whatever.
Okay, I'd like him to play Rogue, but we'll see. All right, he does pick up Rogue in the end, and Lifecoach is going to be playing his Druid again, just trying to punch through Kolento's lineup. Just get one win with that Druid. Again, with Harrison Jones, it makes a lot of sense. You know, you've got a pretty decent matchup against whatever you're thrown. Oh,
He has
wow.
a decent opener too.
Mm-hmm. Too bad we can't have Lifecoach's cam, because I wonder what he would have done at the side of this little 2-1.
So does he want to just pass the 10 here? The 10 to Wildgrove. The pirate deals 4 damage to you for 1 mana, so not a bad deal for 1 mana creature.
Oh man, 4 damage for 1 mana. That's a new hunter card we got to make.
Actually, some hunters are playing with the pirate.
Yeah, I know.
Ha
To my great dismay, they charge me even faster now. And Lifecoach is gonna
for a
get a
second.
really good Emperor Thorson, right?
I
Or
was thinking for a second about coin Powder Shredder, but
you
it
know,
makes
by
sense.
the way, like I didn't realize that, but Lifecoach has the double Savage Roar with Force of Nature and the Emperor play.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, right. That's all you've got to say, Lothar. Oh,
Well, it's still.
oh yeah, right. He's just gonna be able to
mana.
play, you know, Shred or Swipe next turn. Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
right.
right. And then Rag on turn 7.
Seems like a good curve.
Yeah, but the thing is that Kolento is also packing a lot of damage at the moment.
A lot of heat. You would
Yeah,
say.
I mean, he's got a weapon hit for that Emperor, and now everything goes face. So can Lifecoach even stabilize? I mean, that's a lot of phase damage coming up. So
That's
like,
10 damage, 10.
yeah, it's getting really dangerous for Lifecoach.
Well, you have to swipe the Powder Shredder, that's for sure.
Then you play your own, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not like you have a choice.
And if you
really.
get Innervate, you win the game.
Actually, yeah. Actually, you kind of would, yeah.
It's insane.
This game is balanced. Wait, so he plays the Shredder?
You have to play it first because there are 2 minions that can actually make you not play
Mana
your own.
Wraith. Yeah, that's right. There's a Mana Wraith in the... Well, Neverbar Weldlord doesn't work, so...
Oh yeah, right.
Oh my god!
my god.
That's game right there. Good game, ladies and gents. This is it. That was the fastest game I've ever seen between these two decks. I have never seen such a quick game between Rogue and Druid.
I wonder if Lifecoach would have drawn the Innervate next turn. I would really like
I
to see
don't
the next draw, you know? Wow.
I mean, Hearthstone, right? So Kolento with a warrior left versus Lifecoach's lineup. So Lifecoach has to win 3 times against a patron warrior. I mean, that's a really tough endeavor in the first place. And when Kolento's piloting the deck, it's making things even harder.
Man, I don't even know what to say. Like, this game, that was so fast.
Yeah, I mean, that exact card lineup for Kolento, allowing him to handle whatever Lifecoach threw at him. And that 1 mana 2/1 being played for the extra bit of damage, like Kolento just lined up the cards. Perfect.
I imagine he only was lacking the sap for the Emperor on turn 5. Like, instead
Right,
of...
it was like the one thing I guess could have been different.
Yeah.
Is you sap it instead of...
Then you Innervate sap, or Innervate Tinker Shop, or you'll play sap, go face with everything, you deal 16 damage that turn,
Yep.
just for face, and that's basically it. That would have been even faster than this way. But yeah, well, that didn't happen.
I don't know, man. That was still a really fast game. We'll see if Lifecoach can get the last. This is possibly match game. If Kolento wins this versus Lifecoach, Lifecoach is going to be knocked out right away to the losers bracket, and Kolento is going to move on forward to face Firebat a bit later. But the thing is, Lifecoach still can win this against Patron. It's not out of it yet. It's not.
And we saw many matches where Patron was struggling in a row, like 3 times, a lot of times. So it's still possible to win against Patrons, unless, and that's what we are bringing up. Like almost every single time we see a Patron, the Patron deck is being carried by the Emperor.
Yeah, so he really has to find Emperor Thorsten with like a 5-card hand, and then things get really alright for the opponent. Oh man, Lifecoach with a really sick start though.
It is, because the Shadow of Extremis is the one card that can't be dealt with by the warrior unless it's unshading.
Mind if I roll knee?
Well, Kolento with a double inner rage though, so things could get like if Kolento picks up a patron, he doesn't even need to really get the perfect enabler for it, because Druid very often doesn't even have what it takes to deal with a massive board of patron. Like you don't have to wait for Warsong Commander necessarily. So we'll see how this ends up going, but Kolento's hand isn't too bad either. Not as good as Lifecoach's, but
I wouldn't say it's not as good. If he draws a single patron, this might be game over. Imagine the 10-5. 10-4 is Deathspite, you attack whatever. 10-5, you draw patron, double inner rage, attack with Deathspite, and there's 6 creatures on board. How do you deal with that as your
it's gonna be
as a druid? There's no way. There's no way you can deal with that. 3 of those patrons will be full health. So he needs 1 card to win the game here, in my opinion.
I think Kolento's really close to, like, he's 1 card away, as you said, to really picking up the win. If he just finds that, then, like, especially with the Deathbite possible trigger.
The really sad part is that he can't battle rage this time, and he couldn't sacrifice loot quarter.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, good players very often when they face against Grim Patron, like, there was no opportunity here, but they will simply not attack the warrior before he's armored up. Because very, much too often you run into the problem of feeding him the card draw.
That's an interesting play. It plays around Deathspite this turn, so very heads up from Lifecoach here, because this way Kolento has to play Deathspite, attack into the Belcher, and then use Inner Rage on that. Or
no, I really like that play from Lifecoach. It's actually one of the few ways that I think he really guarantees that there's not going to be any patron outburst very, very fast. And I mean, he's still going to overkill the Belcher by a little bit, no matter what he does. And the BGH, if that Frothing Berserker gets too big. So Lifecoach is still getting the good answers here. He's got card draw, he's got the Druid of the Claw if he needs a tempo play, BGH if things get out of hand a little bit. He's lacking like a Wrath, I guess, to deal with the Patron, let's say, if it did come out.
Oh, well, let me think.
Kolento, the dry draws. Do you ever Battle Rage? Just for draw? Because I think at this point you kind of have to. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
Well.
You have to drop Berserker this turn. So yeah, this is an easy option, but not that. Not that I would say. Oh, he didn't attack. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's not a strong play. It's a play.
Yeah, exactly what I wanted to say, but I couldn't just speak out my mind.
And I like this because Kolento is kind of putting Lifecoach in a position where if he pops the Belcher, he risks giving his opponent something to smash a patron on. Not that it's going to happen anytime soon, since you've got to wait until you've got 8 mana to pull that off, but...
Yeah, so it's better to use it right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Than later on. So I think you just smash the free one with the free, and then you kill the... Well, you sacrifice the Azure Drake then. So maybe not... What about if you use Hero Power this time? So you attack with the Azure Drake into the free, then go with the... No, then Deathspite kills your Azure Drake. So it's better either way. I think this might be the turn when just play sacrifice both minions and play Pulse Shredder and one.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I really like that. Like, you're putting so much pressure on the warrior to remove your board that it's really going to be tough. The biggest plays he's got, like patron plays, you can't answer, so that's irrelevant, right?
Yeah,
And a Frothing Berserker play, you can answer somewhat easily. He's already played the one, you've got rid of the claw to charge into it. So if things go really, really wrong, you're still only weak to the same stuff you were weak a turn ago. So I like this.
I was thinking of one aspect that you could have leave the Frothing Berserker just to kill it with your Big Gun Hunter next turn, but you would rather play your Ancient of Lore than anything else. So I guess this is fine anyway. And now, turn 6, so turn 7, still nothing serious for your opponent. So I guess you need to leave that's a bad drop for Lifecoach to attack. And you have to leave the slime open for 1 turn, but if your opponent doesn't play a minion on turn 7, which practically denies your sacrifice of the slime, then the patrons will just, spam.
They will get in here. You can't really do much about it.
Yeah, we know that there's no patrons in Kolento's hand, but Lifecoach is of course not aware of that, and he knows that there's one card in Kolento's hand that is being kept from the start of the game.
Yeah, so it's most likely going to be something. I mean, he has to assume now that there's no patron, because one of them might have been played if he had another enabler. Like, in this case, he might be saying, oh, maybe he's got the patron, but only the AoE and no Whirlwind and no Cruel Task. But, oh god, that is a pretty sick draw. You know what, this Druid match really went as smoothly as you can hope for it to go against a patron warrior.
It's still not done, bro. Still not done.
you have faith in the patrons?
Not anymore.
Yeah. So you just look at the card draw, you're like, yep, this is not gonna work.
You sacrifice so much power to kill the Rag, and like, wow.
Yeah. This BGH is gonna seal the game right there. Ragnaros is gonna take it. Do you keep her the grove for style points, or do you not?
I don't think Lifecoach is that kind of player.
Okay, I would have done it just for the lulz. Or like,
Well, Forsen doesn't even know that you have to do that.
Well,
like,
I know that I can
silence
execute
Rag.
my own Sylvanas, right? So, I mean, I know I can silence my own Rag. Alright, so StarLadder 2-1 here in the last, one of the possible last games if Kolento picks this up versus Lifecoach. He's got Warrior Mirror Match with a Warlock. What do you think? I mean, Headlock is so good against Patron, I'd be surprised if he didn't go for that.
It's really good if you draw the nuts, like 2 Twilight Drakes and 2 Giants. Then it's easy. Nothing could have been easier.
Do you think that's it? I really think it's more. It's not even just those cards. I think there's a lot of tempo plays you can make in the mid game. Just overwhelming your opponent with taunts is enough to make him quit. Like, Ancient Watcher seems irrelevant, but it is a problem. It's only really weak to a Deathbite AoE, like your Belchers.
But Emperor too. The Patron Warrior can just win by not playing Patrons and just going for the Frothing Berserkers,
Yeah,
I think the deck should be called Frothing Berserkers or Patrons, actually.
Frothing Patrons?
Frothing Berserker. Frothing Warrior, I mean.
It should just be called Frothing Warrior, really.
Yeah, I mean...
that's a pretty good... first time I've heard that, but that sounds kind of cool.
Like, the Berserkers have the potential to OTK your opponent.
No, I agree.
Patrons doesn't have that.
I think half the wins you get are off of Frothing, and the other half is from...
That's an interesting statistic, I would really like to see how much do you win without Patron, like at all, but you win by playing just Warsong Commanders and Frothing Berserkers.
No, I think Frothing is like the kill, and Patron is the control tool, right? So you'll use Patron to wipe the board, force an AoE, then you just go, oh, whatever, just win instantly with Frothing, so... I can agree with you. Give me a moment.
I would say this is the turn when you just play the Giant, and this is it. This next turn you play Giant and probably draw, and the Dark Bomb for anything. I don't think you can Dark Bomb this turn. Doesn't make any sense, I would say.
What about Hellfire, though? Do you think Hellfire is out of the question? Or do you really have to keep the second one, like both of them, for the Patron spam?
Well, most of the time there will be only one patron spam.
Yeah,
against
that's what I'm
handcuffs.
thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one Hellfire here is a pretty solid way to deny the, excess draw from a possible Acolyte.
Lifecoach
getting
is
it
missing a
fast.
Mortal Coil to deal with a Floating Berserker, so that's a problem. Oh, look at that. That's a Floating Berserker, but this is not the turn when it... Oh, he is actually dropping. Okay.
Kolento's like, you better have the answer or you're out. Kolento asking the questions here, and Lifecoach, surprisingly at the moment, just doesn't have what it takes. So maybe he's going to have to draw the Owl?
I think he will just play the Giant here.
Actually, what about Watcher? No, I was going to say Watcher Taunt, but that's so weak. Like
No,
a
dice
Giant,
to Death
Giant's
Spite
better.
Armor Smith.
Yeah, Giant's better.
A Giant, and hope your opponent doesn't have an Execute, but unfortunately for Lifecoach, and fortunately for Kolento, there's an Execute already in the hand. So, this looks really bleak for Lifecoach. He doesn't have Molten Giants either. So if Kolento just goes nuts this turn, this might mean lethal next turn. So sacrifice the Armor Smith, most likely. Oh, never mind. Okay, yeah, that makes sense too, because you can now buff your Floating Berserker with the additional Armor Smith next turn. Really makes sense. I would love to see the Pirate.
Do you
being
think?
played.
Do you think there's any way that Lifecoach could actually just die next turn
Yeah,
if he picks
of
up a
course.
Whirlwind? Because I mean, at the moment, he's not quite
has
dead
Death
yet with the
Spite.
amount of taunts, right? Like within the number of taunts he's got, I think he can still live, likely.
I don't think you can drop like you can drop one taunt. That's basically, well, you can drop two if you play your both Sunfear Protectors.
So you
Well, you
taunt
can
them
drop
both,
Zombie
or
Chow.
I mean,
Zombie
you've seen
Chow,
an
Giant.
execute, so maybe the Giant is safe. Like Zombie Chow, Giant Taunt.
Maybe that's not that bad. But then you sacrifice the Giant for the Floating Berserker most of the time.
What about
Just-
Hellfire Dark Bomb? Is that just terrible? I mean, you're gonna take too much damage from the weapon.
But then your
though.
opponent knows there's no Moltens.
Yeah, that's it. You can't play Molten Giant right afterwards, so your opponent has a tell on you.
Yeah.
Wow. But this is a really tough decision. This is the kind of spot that only Handlock gets in. Playing defensively with like 25 options, none of which really feel good.
Now he goes for the Giant, Zombie Chow, and Sunfear Protector.
Yep. As many taunts as you can, as fast as you can, and he's gonna hope that his opponent doesn't pick up the execute. Unfortunately, double Battle Rage with the attack into the Zombie Chow could trigger a massive AoE wave.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah,
You
the
played
Battle
both?
Rage is gonna be insane, man. This Battle Rage is gonna be crazy.
What about... Wait, no. You played the 0 mana Pirate. You saw one Hellfire, right? So you don't really play around second one. Then you attack into the Zombie Chow. I mean, you can play the Taskmaster too. You Taskmaster...
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think he's got near lethal with the four damage. He's
Wait,
got.
but what if he wants to... No, you attack...
Actually, no, he's got it. Yeah, he's got it. Never mind. It's right there. It's just right under our nose with a Cruel Task. He's got it if he uses it on the Armor Smith.
Oh, yeah, right. This is 6. No, wait, that's not enough. That's
Yeah, no,
7
it's
then.
enough. It's more than enough. Isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Never
Like,
mind.
this is a
That's-
pretty
that's-
insane amount. I think he's got more than enough damage here to get his opponent to just keel over and die.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You're right, this is actually a Frothing Warrior, not a
Yeah,
patron.
I'm saying.
Not at all the Patron Warrior.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, that
That's it.
Kolento took it pretty,
That Floating Berserker draw on Tin 4 was just insane.
yeah, you also said, he's not going to play it now, but he actually asked the question, and Lifecoach didn't have the answer. So he
Imagine if
played
there
it.
would be like a Dark Bomb and Mortal Coil.
Yeah, that would have been, the card would have gone, but it's just Kolento taking the risks. Again, I think the matchup is so quote-unquote bad for the Patron Warrior that you've got to make those plays. And once in a while, you'll pick up a win where you otherwise didn't expect to. So Kolento really making a good decision there and taking it from Lifecoach, which I guess didn't really have any chance at the end there. There's like nothing in his hand that could have helped.
Yeah. That, well, not the cards that he had currently in his hand.
Right. Like,
Other
I
cards
guess-
in his deck, yeah, might have helped. But in this particular matchup,
Instance, yeah.
I think the only way of making things different was to play the giant on tin 4 instead of the hellfire. We are asking about that, right?
Right,
If you would
about
play the
playing
giant
right.
instead of the hellfire, then there will be an execute on tin 4 for Kolento.
And
so
the
he
second
wouldn't
one
be,
wouldn't have come out. That's
yeah. So
Alright.
this might have been the better option to play the giant first
yeah.
instead of the hellfire.
Well, hindsight and perfect information will make us look like we know what we're talking about. But then again, Lifecoach has probably played this matchup a lot more than
of
I have
course.
at least. So he knows what he's doing, and I think he went for the risky play, attempting to remove that board. It didn't quite pay off with Kolento's perfect and the perfect question. So looking at the brackets here, we see that Firebat and Kolento are going to be facing off in the semifinals over the course of the next few days of StarLadder.
Yep.
There's also going to be some losers bracket matches, one between Strivecrow and Lifecoach, and one between Lostov and Orange. So even though Lostov and Lifecoach lost today to Firebat and Kolento respectively, they can still come back. All they have to do is get out of that losers bracket and back into the grand finals, and possibly face off against one another even in the losers bracket.
Yep. Yeah. Easy win for either of them, I think.
Yeah, easy win for either of them. That sounds like the most politically correct way to announce a match and its results. Lothar just with the perfect words there. So,
well, I'm from the team, so I can't really say biased things, right?
That's right. We'll assume we don't know what you meant, Lothar. All right, so that's it for the day, guys. We cast 2 matches as were planned. I'm a little disappointed by the fact that the Lifecoach versus Kolento matches didn't last longer. Like I was hoping for another, a solid 30 minutes of extra cool action from them, but we didn't quite get it. So I guess I'll just watch
Kolento's
older
fault.
VODs. Yeah, it's his fault. What's with that rogue draw, man? Like
That was just insane. That was too fast. It was a blink of an eye, and he could just kill the German Blitzkrieg like even faster than the Blitzkrieg itself.
Yeah, there you go. See, like counterattack from Ukraine. So we'll be back, I guess. I'm not gonna be here to cast the next day of StarLadder, and I don't think neither will you.
Neither will you.
It's going to be,
neither will I.
It's going to be Nimsh and Savich casting for you for the next day. So I hope you guys will enjoy them as much as you've enjoyed us. Hopefully, thank you Twitch chat for your nice words, Kappa. Until then, you guys have a nice one, and come back.